and absolute.
Yeah.
Help us to realize that our sense of fairness and justice isn't exactly right, Lord, but we can always depend on you to fill in the holes.
Yes.
Help us not to just let you fill in the holes, but take over. Help us make our lives your tools for your glory. We ask you for these things, and we thank you for what you provide us for us in your holy name. We do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so I know a lot of words, but I'm not going to use them all, so you won't be here too long. I'm going to begin with a little definition of the words fair and just.
All right.
Amen.
For this lesson, I need you to keep your minds open, because I may say some things that may at first sound controversial, and I don't want anyone upset because you might miss what comes later on. According to dictionary.com, the word fair means free from bias, dishonesty, or injustice. It also means neither excellent nor poor, or marked by favoring conditions. The word just means guided by truth, reason, and justice, done or made according to principle, based on right, and, especially in biblical use, righteous. I'm here to tell you that God is not fair. Now, don't close your ears just yet. Hear me out. I'm in Isaiah chapter 30, beginning of verse 18, and I'm going to give you a definition of the Lord. And therefore will the Lord wait, that he may be gracious unto you. And therefore will he be exalted, that he may have mercy upon you. This mercy is going to make a comeback later on. For the Lord is a God of judgment, and we all know that judgment is a great part of justice.
Amen.
Blessed are all they that wait for him.
All right. Right.
For the people shall dwell in Zion at Jerusalem. Thou shalt weep no more.
All right.
He will be very gracious unto thee at the voice of the cry. When he shall hear it, he will answer thee. Notice that it says, when you ask, he will answer thee. He'll answer you, but it might be a while. So if you don't get your answer right away, ask again. Because it says, when he hears you, he will answer.
Amen. Amen.
All right, so now we're going to turn to, we're going to talk about the definition of God not being fair. Fair being free from bias, dishonesty, or injustice. No one's going to say that God has dishonesty or injustice because he has neither of those things. But bias is something he has an abundance of. He was pleased with his son Jesus.
Yeah.
He held Noah above all the other men
Come on now, come on
on
now.
earth. He made Moses the leader of every single Israelite. Now tell me that's not bias. On top of that, he gave his son Jesus Christ to give mankind a second chance.
All right.
They had a chance back with Adam and Eve to do the right thing, but they messed it up. And even before he sent Jesus, he had offerings so that people could cleanse their spirits to be with him later on. You see, that's bias. That's not fair. There you go. Neither excellent nor poor is a definition of fair. First of all, God is much more than excellent. He's perfect, he's holy, he's upright, outstanding. And he's definitely not poor. He's not poor in the sense of spiritual poorness, seeing as he is God, the very definition of spirituality. He's also not poor in terms of wealth, because this is his world. He made it. Everything in it belongs to him. Now, the last definition of fair. Marked by favoring conditions. Now, I'm not grown, so I don't have to deal with rent or bills or even keeping a job. But I know that a lot of the congregation out here does. And I'm going to ask you, Do you think it's fair that some people have more money than you, or less for that matter? Do you think it's fair that you have to work, that it seems like you have to work harder, that you have more relationship issues, that you have more difficulty learning, that it's hard to get along with other people? I don't think it's fair either, but you know what? It's just.
All right.
Justice is guided by truth and reason. God is true.
Yeah.
He's the truest thing you can find anywhere in any realm. And he's reasonable. Because if you were to think of quid pro quo fairness, just something for something, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth deal, every time we sin, we would be punished.
Right. Amen.
And that would be fair. But you see, because God uses justice, which is guided by reason, it's not reasonable to punish someone for something they do wrong every time. Like my mom and daddy, I don't get in as much trouble for doing something new wrong as I do for doing the same thing.
Well. All right, boy.
Also can mean done or made according to principle. Now you see this book right here, the Holy Bible,
Yes.
this is principle. And all of the rules God has given us are based on these principles. Meaning that God is filled with justice. Now, the next definition is based on right. Have you ever known God to be wrong? I haven't. Even when it seems like something's not going right, it's going right.
Yeah.
He sent his son to die. You know, his son was dead for 3 days and came back.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what happened? It was all right. I'm going to come over to Luke 16, verse 19, to begin telling you some more about how God's fairness and justice has played out. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. Now, I don't think it's fair that Lazarus, an upright, upstanding gentleman, would have to be in a position of poverty, not being exalted by God. I also don't think it's fair that the rich man, who doesn't care for anybody with less money than him, should have all of that money. Who wouldn't even let Lazarus have the crumbs that fell from his table.
All right.
And it came to pass that the beggar died, and was carried by the angels into Abraham's bosom.
Yes.
The rich man also died, and was buried. And in hell he lifted up his eyes, being in torment, and seeth Abraham afar off, and Lazarus in his bosom.
Yeah.
You see, what you go through right now, this is my philosophy, I don't know if you agree with it, but you might. I think that the reason good things happen to bad people
Yes.
so that a good person can come up to the bad person and show them that all of their good things have come from God. Contrarily and similarly, I think that bad things happen to good people
Yeah.
so that heaven will seem all the greater.
Yeah.
You know that you will be rewarded for all of the suffering you go through on this earth. So just deal with it. Heaven will be so much sweeter. Now I'm going to show you some more of God's lack of fairness. This is whenever the three men came to Abraham and Sarah, told telling Sarah that she was going to have a child. They have already told her and she's laughed.
Yeah.
And the men rose up from thence and looked towards Sodom. And Abraham went with them to bring them on the way. And the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham that thing which I do? Seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. For I know him, that he will command his children and his household after him. And they shall keep the way of the Lord, to do justice and judgment. I told you those two things were connected.
Yes.
That the Lord may bring upon Abraham that which he hath spoken of him, meaning that Abraham will be the father of many nations. And the Lord said, because the cry of Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very grievous, I will go down now and see whether they have done altogether according to the cry of it, which is come unto me, and if not, I will know. And the men turned their faces from thence, and went toward Sodom. But Abraham stood yet before the Lord. And Abraham drew near and said, wilt thou also destroy the righteous with the wicked?
Amen.
Saying that it's not like God to destroy the righteous with the wicked. Whenever he obliterated the earth with Noah, you know who survived? The righteous survived. Because God understands justice, even if it doesn't seem like it's fair to us. Peradventure there be 50 righteous within the city. Wilt thou also destroy and not spare the place for the 50 righteous that are therein? That be far from thee to do after this manner, to slay the righteous with the wicked. He said, God, what are you really going to kill the good people with the bad people? That doesn't really seem like you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right? And the Lord said, if I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, then I will spare all the place for their sakes. He says, okay, Abraham, I'll do you one better. If I find 50 good people in Sodom, not only will they survive, I'll let everybody else live too.
Yes. Right. Yes.
And Abraham answered and said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord, which am but dust and ashes. He says, Lord, I know I'm not worthy to ask this of you, but peradventure that there shall lack 5 of the 50 righteous. Wilt thou destroy all the city for lack of 5? And he said, if I find there 40 and 5, I will not destroy it. You see, this isn't fair. Bargains aren't fair. Giving something for less than it is worth is not fair. This goes against the very definition of fair, the beginning of which is free from bias. And he spake unto him yet again, and said, peradventure there shall be 40 found there. And he said, I will not do it for 40's sake. And he said unto him, oh, let not the Lord be angry, I will speak. You see, he really cares about Sodom and Gomorrah because his nephew Lot is there. Peradventure there shall be 30 there. And he said, I will not do it if I find 30 there. You have to have a really good relationship with God if you're going to try to bargain. And he said, behold now, I have taken upon me to speak unto the Lord. Peradventure there shall be 20 found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 20's sake. And he said, oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak yet but this one. It's about the 5th or 6th parts of God.
Right there.
Peradventure 10 shall be found there. And he said, I will not destroy it for 10's sake. And the Lord went his way as soon as he had left his communion with Abraham. And Abraham returned unto his place.
All right.
Abraham had such a good relationship with God, and God was so unfair that Abraham managed to get God to not destroy Sodom and Gomorrah if he could just find 10 people there.
Yes.
The only problem was that there weren't 10 righteous people in Sodom and Gomorrah. God wasn't willing to spare them. You see, there there are other examples of God lacking in fairness. Do you think it's fair that his only son, Jesus Christ, had to come to this earth and die for our sins, for mine and yours, for everybody who has lived, is living right now, and will live in the future? Do you think that's fair? It's not. Jesus had to be born in a hard time. Do you think it's fair that Herod had all of the firstborn, all of the children aged 2 and under killed because Jesus was born? I don't think that's fair. Do you think it's fair that when Jesus went back to Nazareth, everyone just thought of him as the carpenter's son, that he couldn't possibly be anything good? I don't think that's fair. When Jesus cast out legion into the pigs and threw them into the river, the people drove him out of town. Do you think that's fair? The man possessed by legion was killing people when they walked by the graveyard. I don't think that's fair. But you know, God is just.
Yes, thank you.
Jesus did have to die. But because he died for all of us, he lived again. He didn't have to die again.
Yes, that's it.
And you know what? He's coming back. Now, I don't know how much time we have until then, but we should probably get our lives in order. Because God's justice is allowing us some more time to order our steps in His way. All right. Make sure that you don't worry about God being fair, because He will always be just.
Amen.